Hey everybody, I am Brian Raisin, Dr. Brian Raisin, I guess, coming at you live from ACEL room 211. This is exactly where you would be sitting if you were here on campus versus taking an online class. So I wanted to bring that kind of reality to you and welcome you to Strategic and Program Planning, AE 7230. Thanks for jumping in, thanks for taking the class. But first I have to start with just an insane question. Why? Why did you sign up for this class? Serious question. Did you not talk to other students last semester or 2 years ago who told you about my horrible grading, how bad I was, how I redlined every single paper and just ripped them apart? I'm just throwing that out. Students who took my 8420 in the past, you probably know what I'm about to say. I'm going to give you some examples of my feedback, my written feedback from real life papers. Check your screen. This paper has too many flaws to be revised. many editing problems. You need to start over. Your paper doesn't demonstrate the level of substantiveness of tone. It's not acceptable. This will need a lot of work. This paper could benefit from getting the help of someone who is experienced in writing. Yeah, that's my feedback. So tell me something. What do you think about that? A little harsh? Again, students from last semester or 8420 in the past, you probably know what I'm about to tell you. I think that's a little bit harsh, but guess what? That's my written feedback, but it's not feedback that I gave students. That's feedback that I have gotten on papers that I've submitted in the past when I didn't do enough time, when I didn't put in the work. Journal of Ag Food System Community Development Editor. This will need a lot of work. The recommendations are too general and thin. I missed the boat. Excerpt from Journal of Extension Editor. Doesn't demonstrate a level of substantiveness of tone. I must reject it. Has too many flaws. NAA FCS Journal. Man, that's not fun. I got to tell you, my very first paper, this is 20 years ago, 1997, a reviewer wrote, "Why did you waste my time reading this?" And I'm telling you the truth, I can still feel that punch in the gut. It hurt, and I remembered it. And it took me a while to really ever feel like I could even submit another journal article. Now, please note, I have a little yellow highlight bar there. I've published a dozen journal articles in the last 6 or 8 years. I've written several $1 million in grants. What else did I say? National presentations, I've done 60 of those, more than that. So, I'm not all bad. But when I haven't taken the time, when I didn't proofread, when I didn't really do the work, then that's the kind of feedback that happens. So here's what I want you to understand. I want you to know that I'm going to give you critical feedback in this class, but my objective is for you to learn here in the safety of our virtual classroom, hopefully preventing this from ever happening to you, because I'm telling you, it's no fun, and I really want you to be successful. So I'm going to redline your papers, and I'm going to say proofread. I guarantee you guys will be like, what? Hello? But believe me, I'm doing it from love so that you can be better writers. If you don't take my clues and my suggestions, then I'm going to do it again. And you won't get the grade because there's a piece of the grade that's attached to the professionalism in your writing, not just APA style, but sentence construction, verb tense agreement, for heaven's sake. We think we know this stuff as grad students, but as I just showed you, even I screw up when I don't take the time to do it right. So anyway, enough of that. Welcome to Strategic Planning and Visionary Change. So I'm asking myself, what's the relevance of this class in this kind of little brief overview video for you guys? Why am I teaching this class? Well, when I think about strategic planning or program planning, half the work I do, I've been 23 years in extension, but I also had a life before that in industry and some other nonprofits and local government work. And strategic planning is embedded in almost everything we do. Program planning, whether it's formal or informal, was embedded in so many things that we do that I've done through my career. Here's an example from Iowa State. I was there a couple years ago working on a new national food certificate planning meeting to create a certification for food systems workers. Here I'm working down in Dayton with a food bank. They're working on planning programming to engage residents, particularly in urban areas, around their food systems and how they can grow some food. Container gardening, they're using old milk crates there. They're doing program planning. Here's a CFAES, we're doing strategic planning for the college. So I'm working kind of a special assignment with the dean, running probably 20 strategic planning meetings where we're getting input from partners, internal, external, students, asking for their opinions, looking at how we can improve our way forward into the future. So the strategy, how we're doing our programs, highly germane to what we do every day, regardless of whether you're in our college or working. You could be as an online student out in industry somewhere, but you're going to run across it. It's really big stuff. Diversity is a big piece of it as well. I want to put that in there and say that it's kind of implicit. It's going to be explicit in a lot of the things that we talk about, and then thinking about our strategies, our programs, etc. Current approach. Oh, so program planning. So here's a kind of an age-old question for you extension folks who are out there, but you can think about your organization as well, whatever that might be. And it's this question that I think Scott Peters, a colleague up at Cornell, posed probably 10 or 15 years ago. And he and I have kind of gotten to know each other and have talked about this over the years. But the question is, does extension serve as a delivery system, this one-way mechanism of, I have the information, you are the student, I'm going to convey it. Oh, yeah, isn't that great? Or do we facilitate? Do we partner with people and with groups to bring them along and co-create our programs and our way forward through strategies and that kind of thing? It's a great question to really kind of ponder overall meta level. How do we do our work? An historic perspective here, J.P. Schmidt, back in the 1920s, had this really interesting thing. He said, good schools, good churches, and good neighbors are just as important as good potatoes. So what do you think he meant by that? What does that, why do schools, the community of schools, churches, neighbors, and we could add synagogues and mosques, most certainly temples to that today. Why were they as important as good potatoes? Well, I think he was saying the community, the people side of it, as important as the technology, the potatoes. How can we increase our crop? How can we increase our yields? And so if community is as important as technology, then involving people to make change, which I think is the next slide, yeah, it's much more engaged. Extension's a grassroots effort. We involve people to make change. So when we're doing our program planning, when we're strategizing and helping groups across the state or within our own organizations plan for the future, that's a critical piece. And you're going to see that and hear that throughout the semester. Just a last thing on thinking about budgeting. Scott says if extension is even perceived as a one-way mechanism of diffusing information, I mean, we've all got, I don't have it in my pocket, but my cell phone has the world at my fingertips. So if that's just, we're just information purveyors, then we're going to be out of business pretty soon. Why would the taxpayers continue to fund us? Why would students come to Ohio State? We have to translate that information. We have to come alongside with people and partner with people. So it's that back to that people side of things, particularly in strategic and program planning. So we're going to talk about that. And I'll just say, forget extension. Plug in your organization to the sentence, and it still works. All right. Throughout the semester, last thought, just from this quick intro, look for intersections, strategic intersections. So I like to try to live at these intersections where theory and practice come together, because that's a magical point. When those two things come together, stuff happens. And so watch for that. Watch for your readings and how they intersect with your practice or with your reality, with the actual work that you're doing. That's just a brilliant place to live, and that's where you can truly start to see impact and make things happen. All right, for this week, we're just kicking off. Create a personal introduction for yourself. This will all be in the discussion board or in the assignments posted on Carmen, so take a look at those. For me, I'll give you the quick overview. So I've been in Extension for 23 years, I think now. I kind of couched my intro, who am I, with family, faith, and fun. So whatever order you like on that. I'm studying leadership. I have been for quite some time. I think I mentioned I've got a business degree, which is crazy, a master's in sociology, and then a PhD in extension and non-formal education and pedagogy mostly, and research, of course. I've been with extension for these 20 plus years. I was in the Fortune 500 before that, half a dozen years, librarian, economic development director, and then marketing and communication. So a lot of different things. Also plumber, electrician, firefighter, some fun things. What's interesting is I've observed strategy, poor and good, and planning, program planning, in almost everything I've ever done. And it's really interesting when you start putting it in those contexts that theory meets practice. You can really see where opportunity was lost or opportunity was gained, and an organization moved forward. And that's pretty neat. We're going to talk about that this semester, and hopefully help position you guys to see that and to affect that as you're doing your work. Some family pictures, 2 daughters and my wife out biking, just having some fun up on a roof, patching holes. We do a lot of volunteer work. Some gardening. I'm a gardener. I love old cars. There's my daughters working, doing volunteer stuff. Locavore family, or farm to table dinners, and what else? Oh, I guess Charlie Brown. Yeah, you know. Anyway, all right. So your assignments, look online in Carmen. It's detailed there. But your personal introduction, you're going to do a video on this one, and then the discussion board. For this week only, you don't have to comment on this one. I just want to get your input on what your expectations are. I want to learn from you. If you have some ideas from another class online, how we can make it better, how we can improve it. And that's about it. The other homework assignment you have, look around. Do you see the need for strategic planning or programming in organizations you're working with right now? Kind of where are you? It's really cool when you pause and you think about what you're studying and then look around and see how that applies. It's kind of fun stuff. Review Carmen, review the syllabus. It's pretty detailed. It could have mistakes in it. I've tried to prove it pretty well, but yes, we still make those mistakes, so give me a little grace. Well, and let me know too. I don't mind. I really am glad to have that feedback, because that'll help me and help the other students not be confused. So thanks. God bless you guys. I'm really excited for the semester. Holler at me. Be in touch. And if I can hit finish, we'll see you soon.